This video and all other videos on this channel are for entertainment purposes only. The content of this video and all other videos on this channel are the opinions of the creator only and do not constitute legal, trading, investment, or financial advice of any kind. Investing carries a high level of risk and the majority of retail clients lose money. Do not invest any capital unless you understand the risks and you are prepared to lose it all. Alright, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel and I don't have a great deal to say today, so I'm just going to focus on the charts a little bit here. Before we do, a whole heap of people were tagging me in the same thing as of yesterday, and it is because of this original idea, okay? And let's be clear, at the lows I thought we were too bearish and going to all-time highs. I thought for sure we would need to see cuts sometime around the top. Always a bit of wiggle room, a few months either side of the cuts for the top to come in, or usually is. But that's not the point I want to make today. The point I want to make today is this thing in yellow, Congress banned from owning stocks here, and I want to be really, really clear about this, okay? Number one, this is just an expectation and is by no means a requirement, okay? This entire thesis can play out with or without this. The reason it's an expectation is because, very simply, we saw them do the exact same thing with the Fed officials here, okay? They come out and they do it for, quote, ethical reasons, but really it's just a way of letting the big players out at the top before we enter a bear market. So it made sense to me that if we were going to have this blow off top, if we were going to get to all-time highs, and then of course if the rest of this thesis is to play out, which is the bear market, the global recession, and then some kind of print in later in life that forms a lower high bounce, okay, you know all of this because it's been written in pink at the right hand side of the melt up chart here the entire time. So essentially if we are going to have a top and then that top will remain the high for about a decade whilst we experience one of these lost decades, you know, something like this for a decade, wouldn't it only make sense for them to perhaps want to repeat this same trick that they did with the Fed officials at the top and ban Congress from owning stocks? So lots of people yesterday were tagging me with this post here, okay, that apparently stock trading should be illegal for members of Congress. So it's led a lot of people to say, have I got a crystal ball, this, that, and the other? But let's be really, really honest, okay? As you know, I like to try and be as transparent and as intellectually honest as possible here. They have been talking about this on and off for a long, long time, okay? If you Google anything like this, what you will find is they've been talking about this for years, and it keeps getting brought up, it keeps getting suggested, then they kick the can down the road. It did make a little bit of progress this year, seemingly, but when you dig into the details, they're talking about not actually doing it, not actually bringing it into effect until perhaps March of 2026 or 2027, one of those two. You can look that up for yourself if you're really interested. But really, whilst this was an expectation, like I said, whilst we saw them do the same with the Fed here, so far I don't really think you can give me any credit for this because it doesn't look like it's going to happen to me. Do I think eventually they could ban Congress from owning stocks? Yes. Is there always an outside possibility that they could pull this thing forward and we could see it just kind of a snap decision? That's always a possibility, right? But I don't really think this thing in yellow here, whilst it was an expectation, really deserves any credit at this moment in time. But what really matters is, do we get a blow off top, which I think we're in the middle of, as you know? Do they cut rates at the top? Okay, which of course they have already started the cutting cycle against a backdrop of economic slowdown, inflation falling like a stone, unemployment deteriorating, and they keep lying about it, against the backdrop of the third angles being set in the stock market, against the backdrop of the inverted yield curve. So far so good, okay? All we're missing now is some third and final angle violations to the downside, something like this, and then overall I'm going to tick this one off and say the first half of that call is correct, and then we'll see if we get a bear market, we'll see if we get a recession, one day at a time as always. So I appreciate the love, right? I appreciate a whole heap of people tagging me in this, but please do keep objective here, okay? Just because they're saying they're going to do it does not necessarily mean we are going to see anything remotely close to that anytime soon. I saw a lot of people posting this channel and sort of drawing these trend lines kind of the incorrect way, incorrect according to Camel. Just to be clear, okay, Camel is saying no bull market confirmation until we break above this downward sloping red, okay? We must use the outermost wicks according to Camel before we can actually say, okay, we've got a breakout. So I don't care if we break out of this channel, I don't care where else other people are drawing the lines. For me, outermost touches, outermost wicks is the line in red, and until we get breakout of that level, then I'm not ready to say we are absolutely going to new all-time highs and 100k is in sight. Just something to keep in mind, because I've seen a whole heap of comments all over Twitter from people saying Bitcoin's broken out, right? But realistically, the red line is the only one we need. The red line is the one that has been sat right here at the top the whole time, okay? That is what we need to break out of for me to think that we actually have a real chance at bull market continuation. Big Mike says we're going to 70k, get in, and I tend to agree. It looks like this is what is in play right now, and this also aligns perfectly with the cycles and my yellow squiggle, so happy days there. Notice how the 1 month Bitcoin line chart has absolute precision within this channel. A perfect touch here, a precise touch here, another precise and perfect touch, same here, okay? Can we get another upside touch? Seems like if we did, that would be pretty insane performance, not in any way, shape or form calling for it, but I think conservatively, this median line should be able to be hit. That would give us over 100k, roughly speaking. But if 100k is not good enough for you, how does 196k plus sound? Because that's what Kushi sees. And again, notice we've got 1 into 2, 3 into 4, looking for that big 5th and final push. But as ever, okay, we continue to have to take it one day at a time, continue to have to be open to all possible outcomes. This is by no means worthy of celebration just yet. If we zoom all the way in, we've got a very, very minuscule but lower high, okay? It's almost an equal high, but it's, at least on this chart, a lower high. So far, okay, we need to see another higher high. If we do, that would be very encouraging, because then, of course, we would have low, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, and then higher high, okay? That would be a very, very, very significant change in market behavior. That would have me thinking we really, really do have a chance at breaking out of the most significant trend line in Bitcoin's history. But anyone that's been here for any length of time at all knows that we could certainly see a BART pattern in here, okay? And then straight back down. If my current cycle count is correct, then we're on something like day 39, okay? And we're expecting a day 60 low to form. So hopefully we can get a nice big push off of here. As per my yellow squiggle, a pullback into a cycle low for November 5th, right around the elections, and then we can blast off. As ever, we'll just keep taking it one day at a time. Remember, Cred's scenario says that we probably got some downside coming. And remember, Bob Lucas's scenario says that we're just going to keep doing this until the end of the year. So up, down, sideways, or in circles, yep, that's how trading is sometimes. Gold is not looking very strong to me, and I'm thinking that we are indeed going to get now some kind of lackluster performance out of this, a rollover into that weekly cycle low. For me, I'm thinking I'm probably not going to be long gold here. I am positioned in case some surprise upside move comes out of here via some other metal type positions, but I'm thinking more than anything, if we continue to chop for a few more days, then I'm going to be looking for shorts here into that weekly cycle low rather than longs, but we'll take it one day at a time. Oil did indeed get that rejection at resistance. Lots of people were asking me about this. I don't really care about shorting it, but the cycles are down for a little while longer, so it would make sense to get down to $30 or $40 a barrel for oil. And again, that would also speak to inflation not being sticky, all the know-it-alls and people that are denying a recession and saying, you know, productivity and economic expansion is there and inflation's going to bounce, bro, and all of this kind of stuff. I mean, tell that to oil. And of course, the stock market, it seems like it's probably got one final push, as per my yellow squiggle, right? We're still holding this third and final angle for now at least, so long and strong there. Couple of positions on happy days. Looking to see a continuation of the NASDAQ, a new all-time high, quick snap to 22, 23k, and then I'm probably going to be looking at cool tops there as well. And I was telling the members over the weekend, I didn't add a Dow Jones long, because if I did, and we get a black swan or the whole thing breaks down very, very sharply, then I'll turn significant gains into kind of lackluster performance. But by keeping this one open and not adding, even if the worst should happen and everything should suddenly roll over and change direction, then I'm still going to be able to walk away with a decent chunk of profit here, no matter what. So by not adding to the Dow, I can use this to finance any kind of black swan events should they occur. And if everything goes according to plan, then, you know, the Dow pushing to 44k, this pushing to 23, 24, something like that, and the S&P getting up above 6,000, I would think, 6 to 6,400, somewhere in there. I mean, that would be me more than happy with that kind of performance. And again, I'm not taking excessive risk in case a black swan should occur. And then when we look back at this thing at hindsight, we'll be able to say, okay, long, right, cut, trade, get back in long, cut, trade, get back in long, cut, trade somewhere in here slightly early, get back in long, cut, trade. I think it was here actually, yen carry trade unwind, went flat for a bit, okay, and then built the exposure back up from here, caught that third and final angle, and good night, Irene. I'm going to leave you with a meme. Be civil to each other. I see a whole heap of toxicity out there at the moment, and I get it because these markets are kind of frustrating people. I get it because bears are wrong, bulls are wrong, because we're still in a range, and we have been for many, many months. I get it because a lot of influencers out there promised you 1,000x altcoin returns and that you were going to build generational wealth, bro, and you haven't, right? But, you know, welcome to the real world. This is how it works. But at the same time, just be nice to each other. Other than that, have a great day. Take care from me. All the best. Cheers. Bye.
Yeah.